Peace, peace. This is Soleil, offering an invitation, a welcome, and an orientation to Corona and its evolution, double exposure. Corona means crowned, and it's an eminence or encircling structure that resembles a crown. It's a set of concentric circles of light seen around a luminous body, especially the sun or moon. Coronavirus, aka COVID-19, aka the Rona, the pandemic from late 2019 to present. But lastly, Corona is a divinely inspired and directed, commemorative 2-volume book, a chronicle, a record, an archive, a sounding board, a mirror and time capsule for the collective and collaborative writing journey through shadows and halos of Judy, Gerta, Tracy, and Soleil with Ravenna from 2018 to 2022. From 3 9-week writing classes and capturing the life cycles outside of class, encompassing faith, race, gender, and age. It's a parade of prose and poetry and photography and patterns of descents and ascents through ancestral stories, epigenetics, personal histories, quarantine and civil rights thoughts and reflections, the mirror and shadow work of memoir, pillow book pages, some spilling the tea and reading the leaves, reading light and prophetic unfolding, the flipping of the hourglass, serendipities and bittersweet gatherings, midsummer night's dreams colliding with days of the dead, temples, cocoons, owls and night music, homecomings, homegoings, funerals and reunions. It's the portals of eclipse seasons and the butterfly effects, wild imaginings and sensory landscapes, sisterhood and daughterhood, fathers, mothers, lovers, free writes and rough cuts of unpolished gems, its flashbacks and sepia-tone reminiscences, its weekly gold rushes and laughter, Judy's lip reading, moving silences, and disquieting and stormy moments, saucers of sliced fruit, floral mugs, a collection of teas, a bay window, and a black breathy fireplace. A vintage romantic painting of Frida Kahlo, patron saint and midwife for transforming pain into painted pictures. Surreal, symbolic, sibilance and assonance and alliteration, invented languages and untranslatable words, forest bathing and essential oils, oyster farms, pearl diving and wild swimming, crystals, singing bowls, sound baths, and night blooms. Corona is the illumination of the mystery of invisible ink. It is wabi-sabi approved. Perfection is not the goal or the point. We intentionally selected pieces in various stages of completion, from unedited free writes, rough cuts, and revised polished pieces, to lower the threshold, to support, encourage, and hopefully inspire beginning writers or would-be writers to record their musings and stories. The pieces are time-stamped with dates. There are birthmarks on the Gregorian calendar to preserve the history, integrity, stardust, and prophetic utterances. From summer 2020, when the eclipse seasons come, may we always remember to notice, to ask what is ending, completing, releasing, beginning, and what is the light illuminating. The moon keeps track of the seasons. The sun is in charge of each day. Psalm 104:19, the Message translation. The Epiphany of Double Exposure. The photo is the original cover image I designed for Volume 1. 2 photos overlaid, creating a double exposure that appears as one photograph. Outdoors, the profile of a beautiful Black woman lying on her back. Green leaves surrounding her as she looks towards the heavens as though communing, dreaming. Overlaid with a warm image of an eclipse with a glowing corona encircling her head behind her. The halo illuminates her lips, while the silhouette of a bare tree emerges from underneath her, representing ancestry and life. It overlays her forehead and pineal gland. She appears to exist between the moon and the tree. Beneath the imagery, a caramel 3-row text box with the golden letters, Corona Chronicles. On the next row, centered are 2 dots side by side. On the 3rd row, Double Exposure, an Icy Light Foundation collaboration. I'll explain the side-by-side dots in just a bit. Going back in time a little bit, on May 6, 2018, a very close friend of mine called and said, "God told me to tell you to connect the dots." We're like, what does this mean? And neither of us really knew at the time. She gave me a little bit of context, but not a lot. And it was a seed. Then a bud that unfolded slowly and then bloomed into this project with the intention, connecting the dots, illuminating the blind spots. So this is a little bit more context around the origin story of the collab with Byron's foundation, Icy Light, formerly Icy Music. And this was April 2022, and it's the eclipse season. So I thought that the Corona project was complete in April, with a Sip and See celebration in a nearby park with Judy and Tracy, when Byron, then the subject of a biography I was writing on him, spotlighted my blind spot by gently bringing to my attention that I had created a project that was not fully accessible to blind and low vision people. Touché. We discussed collabing to create an audible version. Initially, I thought an audiobook would be too daunting an undertaking for us, as we were already quite exhausted from the project taking longer than we had planned or expected. But I really felt inspired to offer it as a fundraiser for Byron's Foundation for a number of different reasons. We already had a wait list for printed copies of Corona for friends and family, and they'd need to wait longer if at our core we fully embraced that a project that wasn't fully accessible for all wasn't really ready. And we agreed that that was our shared value, that it would be better, that what we were offering would be better. And then we started pondering, okay, who else could narrate for us? That could work. Okay, how are we going to pay for that? How much would that cost? All of these sorts of questions. But Byron lobbied for our voices. He'd sound design it and create the music. Okay, but where would I get the energy? Plus, I didn't really like the way I read my pieces. I hadn't focused on reading them other than silently with my eyes. While mulling it over a week or so before the eclipse, the Divine Creator breathed a second wind into the project and me, calling it Double Exposure, giving me the go-ahead and the tailwinds. I knew then that eclipses created by the twin celestial dots, the sun and the moon, were Kairos times, potent turning points of destiny based on personal and collective consciousness. Choices, the composition of frequencies, like divine speech and orchestration pouring out, arranging paths like earthly constellations. They're double exposures. I didn't really know that when at the time. That was also connected to what double exposure meant. That clarity came through insights, revelations, discernments, messages hidden in plain sight already within the project. And it was a trip. I started noticing the plethora of double exposure photographic images in the volumes. 2 different types. Tracy liked to layer the same image for a staggered twinning effect. And I like to combine images, overlay for 2 images to seem more like one. But it was definitely a theme, something we hadn't really noticed in that way. I had focused on the theme and the occurrences of twos, doubles, twins, the unexpected 2 volumes, the twin-themed astrological seasons and symbols that were connected already with Corona. Conceived in May 2020 during the Gemini eclipse season, and birthed during Pisces season in February 2022. Around the time of the Corona Sip-and-See and the April eclipse, B asked me to lend my writing skills to develop the foundation's mission and vision statements and some other revision work. Inspired by its mission to train blind, low vision, and other uniquely abled people in audio technology, and the vision of raising the vibration by eliminating the world's blind spot, having uniquely able community working side by side with the sighted community, it was an honor and a worthy challenge. More dots would connect through the summer and autumn revelations, and like Corona, Icy music also evolved in unexpected and exciting ways into icy light. The Yod, the side-by-side dots. June 11, 2022. June 11, 2022 has a lot of personal resonance for me. My grandfather who raised me is his heavenly birth date. So on that date, the divine guided me to explore the Yod, which was unusual, was kind of, unexpected. I knew that the Yod was called the finger of God, a silver pointer for words in the Quran. The Yod, the side-by-side dots, June 11th, 2022. That date has a lot of personal resonance for me because my grandfather who raised me, it's his heavenly birthday. On that date this year, the divine guided me to explore the Yod. I knew it was called the finger of God. I knew it was a silver pointer for words in the Torah, and it was also the name of a rare astrological aspect. Upon further research on Shabbat.org, I discovered something new. The dot represents the Yod, the 10th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And here's the gist of the story from the site Shabbat.org, CHABAD.org. The dot, the Yod, represents a Jew. When one Jew is beside another, when one Jew respects the other, then the unspeakable name of the divine dwells in their presence. Their alliance becomes the divine's name. But when one Jew is on top of the other, as in a colon, when one Jew thinks he's better or smarter than the next, or disrespects his neighbor, that's the end of the passage. It creates a separation in the relation between a Jew and the divine. Whoa. I thought of the nature of American and Western culture, and I thought about the uses of colons. And the double dots side by side felt like a new technology, more than just punctuation, but like computer code programming. And immediately I commenced using the two dots side by side as punctuation where I used to use colons, grammatically and when designating time, which is a whole nother discussion. I replaced the colons in my pieces in Corona, and it became like a viewfinder also for my relationships. Over time, like up until the last couple of days as I'm recording this in late December 2022, that really started to deepen even more. When two dots respecting one another side by side, the divine dwells in their presence. The dots, their alignment and connection becomes the divine's name. Profound and precious, the power of this revelation, this insight, this truth. Now that's new heaven and new earth perceiving. And I've been wondering, what is this timeline I'm traveling? Because the Corona project, the journey, the writing classes actually commenced on my grandmother's heavenly birth date, October 19th, 2018. And now this double exposure revelation is pouring out on her husband's heavenly birth date. He was born in 1919, and we grew up on 19th Street. I did, his house. So more recognitions were manifesting. Byron had been sighted and blind twice, a double exposure. One day I was searching for something and in my computer bag, and I ran across Byron's cards, 2 of them. And when I went to move them, I felt the bumps on the pad of my fingers, and it grabbed my attention. It was the Braille. And it clicked. Connect the dots. I also discovered foreshadowing of Byron in my autumn 2018 ancestor piece, Invisible Ink. I believe there are some that read light like words on a page and hear it like music. There's a reference to a blind spot in another piece. And so then a series of things just started to reveal that double exposure connected to Byron and me personally. Even our meeting was a butterfly effect of the November 2020 eclipse. Even more surprising, the aperture kept expanding, encompassing our backgrounds, ancestral lines, family birth dates, street addresses, intertwining of visions and destiny, where timelines and song lines meet like the Aboriginal dreaming tracks. Double exposure was more than just like an intriguing concept, but a rare earth phenomenon that includes kindreds that we already knew and new kindreds that we met through divine appointments once the project was underway. And you'll hear these wonderful voices as the unwrapping of the project continues, and more about these wondrously mysterious encounters, experiences, and patterns are revealed and shared. As we release more of these pieces, notice if the dates kindle resonance for you, perhaps in your family or in your ancestral line. Look at the dates of birth, death, marriage, baptisms, dates of dreams if you keep a dream journal, and any other significant events, even accidents, illnesses, traumatic events, and natural disasters. This year in particular, I've noticed significant volcanic and earthquakes occurring on my ancestors' birth and death dates. I felt an earthquake 30 minutes after I wished my great-great-grandmother a happy heavenly birthday on December 17th. I was like, okay, that's a real powerful response right there. And she is the ancestor that inspired the ancestor piece that I just mentioned, Invisible Ink. Especially pay close attention to dates that are unusual, where strange or seemingly bizarre things happen, or things just kind of really click, a lot of synchronicity. Those are often prophetic. You can use the website timeanddates.com for eclipse dates so that you can also really start to look and see what pivotal events or things happen around eclipse season, like a month before or after eclipse dates. I had no idea how creating a more accessible project would really bless and develop me and my process to becoming a more multidimensional luminous being, developing my voice, and first perceiving the limitations and biases of physical eyesight, and then to begin exceeding them. Have you ever floated before in a sensory deprivation pod? It really opens you up, and you have greater access to things that you didn't really realize existed or were available to you. It's really freeing. It's very deeply relaxing. This process has really helped me to understand and see more about the long legacy of our blind spots in the design of this world, and how we've been siloed away from our brothers and sisters who are blind, low vision, deaf, or have other unique abilities like mobility challenges, things like that, and how much our ignorance creates a vulnerability for them that is just not acceptable. So these videos are my fresh forays into universal design. So I hope you'll be patient with me as I'm learning and growing, and I hope you'll be inspired to join in. The more the merrier, and we can just really start to raise the vibration on the planet, which are the twin hearts of Corona Double Exposure and I See Light Foundation. You in? Some videos won't have much imagery to provide a supportive opportunity to kind of just close your eyes and immerse yourself in another world with the intention to expand beyond the limitations of sight, emerging with a unique insight and a different type of depth perception. Double exposure is the embodiment of Byron and I both aligning with the Creator's master plan, along with others who will be sharing and participating in this project. The manifestation of the Yod, the finger of God pointing and aiming us in the divine direction. What would happen if we all replaced the colon with two dots side by side, from a vertical hierarchy to horizontal? How much does the double exposure of Yods raise the vibration? These floating points of light feel like a quantum leap, flipping the hourglass. If that shift in designating time aligns us always with divine timing. Inspired by a question that emerged during a harvest full moon coastal walk with Tracy in 2021. Would you join us on a luminous journey of Corona Chronicles and Double Exposures that convinced more than 100 years ago with our ancestors? With and through the hand and revelation of the Supernal Most High, our divine Creator, our kinfolk are with us in this Kairos season, guiding, assisting the repairers of the breach, restore the truth of our existence, alignment, and inheritance.